BTL episode 95 piece. How about those commies? How about those commies? How about them? How about them? Incredible. They finally came through. They finally came through for the Sharks.
For them.
It was a long journey. It was a long journey. Oh my goodness. I'm just happy they brought the coins back. I'm stoked. DeGen, how we doing?
No, I
we
couldn't be
feeling?
happier. I couldn't be happier. I'm feeling great. I can't get a smile off my face. It's
yeah, I'm with
no
you.
better feeling. I mean, you're a fan, but just as a sports bettor who has bet the Commanders every single week this year and told myself all week, I know they're going to win, but I just can't do it. And then when I saw they went dog to favorite, even though it wasn't too significant, I understand. I had to jump in, and I jumped all the way in.
You didn't have a goddamn choice.
I didn't have a choice.
You didn't. And also, this is episode 97 of Behind the Lines. That's a lot of apps, not 95. All right? Transparency. All right? We keep each other in check. What's going on with the background here? Are we chalked?
It's a little off. We'll fix it. We'll fix it for the next time.
Fuck. Okay. Can't win them all. Can't win them all, guys. Rome was not built in one day. But one step at a time, one game at a time. Next thing you know, maybe the Commies are sitting in first place. Who knows? Nah, to be completely fair, we're a Travis Etienne fourth down catch, and we're a Justin Fields actually being a real quarterback away from being 0-6. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
Whoa. Let's not forget what happened in the Titans game. First and goal from the 2-yard line.
That's fair.
I just want to make sure for people coming after, us Commanders bettors saying, the Bears did everything to lose that game. Well, okay. Are you going to give us a pass on what happened against the Titans? No.
That is a good point. We need to pass on the bad beats too.
Correct.
We do. People are going to bitch about that stuff. I mean, I could not be doing any better. I'm drinking Fiji out of a fucking nipple lid. I didn't even know they made these. This is how we're living today. This is what the Commanders pay for.
You got that fancy water.
Yeah.
Well, I can afford it now after the Commies brought the coins home. Yes, we're drinking Fiji today, ladies and gents.
I love
Fiji
it.
only, no tap. No tap.
That's how we're living.
Huge. Well, we have a bazillion games today. I'm very hungover. I ended up boozing pretty heavily for that second half of the game. Some buddies came over and ended up watching the second half with them. It was getting crazy. I mean, maybe the worst game of all time. Maybe second to last Thursday Night Football. Crazy conspiracy I heard. Maybe Bezos is paying for this shitty game. Maybe he wanted this Thursday Night Football game. Maybe that ESPN article released yesterday morning about Schneider for a reason. I mean, they talked about Dan Schneider. They kind of exposed him and roasted him on the entire fucking Prime stream. Maybe Bezos wants to kick him out and buy the team. And I'm in. You can have the team, Bezos. Please come in and buy it. Take it.
You'd love that.
More than okay with it. But I'm happy to see Dan Schneider being a piece of shit, finally being exposed in the media. You can tell they're really trying to push this stuff right now. And there's an owners meeting coming up. Maybe they'll vote on some shit. They probably won't. I feel like this kind of happens every year and then nothing actually ends up happening. So we're getting there, but at the end of the day, he's still a scumbag and probably going to weasel his way out of this one. He always does. He always does. But how about those Commies? Justin Fields is really bad. I didn't think there was a team or quarterback worse than our situation going on right now until I watched that game last night. Straight up. The Bears are in trouble. They're in trouble. And so are we. And I'm sure you guys saw Ron Rivera after the game defending Carson Wentz, which I guess was good. Better late than never. But the whole thing just seems fake. The whole thing just seems weird. Like last week, we lose and you blame it on the QB because you're a defensive-minded coach and you don't know shit about offense. And then this week, he doesn't really fuck up. He goes out there and hands the ball off 100 times. He really only passed the ball 20 times. Threw 99 yards, no picks, which was good. But then you talk about how you scouted him and wanted him to come. The whole thing is just weird. Ron needs to just get the fuck out of here, plain and simple. We need another typical Washington rebuild that happens every 5 years. It's time. It's time.
Yeah.
With that being said, shout out this guy for not doing any stupid shit last night. Good job, Carson. You didn't do stupid shit. You handed the ball off. Everyone on earth cashed a Brian Robinson touchdown ticket. That was very cool. He's a man of the people. Shout out B-Rob. And then he got to interview with Scott Van Pelt after the game, which was very cool. The dude deserves it. He got shot in the fucking leg 5 weeks ago. I saw a tweet.
Right?
Dude, he got shot 3 times, twice in the leg. Nuts.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet. His fucking bullet wounds healed faster than Keenan Allen's hamstring. Literally. It's nuts. This guy's a fucking freak.
My
and
God.
it took B-Rob a little while to get going. I mean, our O-line is terrible. Don't get me wrong. You guys saw it last night. They're not good, right? Although they played a little bit better. They couldn't really play worse in the last couple of weeks. But B-Rob got going there a little bit at the end. I mean, honestly, Gibson looked really fucking good when he went in there. But shout out the commies. They brought the coins home. We're not going to talk about that game much anymore. We got plenty of games today to go into. We got baseball. We got college football. We got fucking NFL to talk about this weekend, college football to talk about this weekend. We got props. We got sides. We got this. We got that. We got everything. All right, so strap in. Jovan, take us to the Diamond.
Let's go to the
game
Diamond.
you want to talk about? You want to talk about this Yankees game?
I mean, yeah, starts pretty soon, I think. So let's get into that.
Yeah, let's get it.
At the price it's currently at, I'm not a big fan of taking the Yanks, but I'm for sure not taking the Guardians. Like it's probably more of a baseball brand play than anything. Because I know I haven't seen many people other than Trent with Guardians tickets today. But I think Nestor goes out there and shoves. I'm not really too scared. I know DeGen is a little worried about him coming back after 2 weeks, but kind of a more finesse timing based pitcher. It's not exactly the same as, a Jacob deGrom coming out there throwing 100 and having to have super sharp command of his breaking pitches coming back after a week. So I'm okay with it. I think he goes out there and pitches well. This is a Guardians team who can't hit lefties, and Josh Naylor is in the lineup, so that's another guy who can't hit lefties. So I just think he goes out there and pitches really well today. And Shane Bieber is probably going to pitch pretty well too. Like, I don't hate the under in this game either, but I think he gets tapped up for a crooked inning or two between him and the Guards bullpen. So I'll take the Yanks.
Yeah, DeGen, what are you thinking, man? I want to take the Yanks. I don't really care if it's minus 160. I want to get a winner to start the day off. I'm trying to lock this puppy in. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I've been going with my gut a lot more in these playoffs than the betting markets, and burned me in round one. But one thing I'm going to stick with is I just think the Yankees make light work of the Guardians. I really do, and I think I've already gone over this, but the Guardians somehow made me a Yankees fan, a team that I've hated almost my whole life.
I know, it's wild.
Yeah, it's really weird, and it's not like the Guardians are kind of cool. They remind me a little bit of the Rays, but I don't know, something about them just annoys the fuck out of me.
Well, it's probably the fact that they've lost us, thousands of dollars would probably be probably what I would guess.
I didn't fade them that often. And remember when I first came on the show, when we were doing like who's hot, who's not, I said the Guardians. They were one of my teams. I saw in person. They almost put me to sleep, and then I was like, holy shit, they're actually pretty good. And I give them a lot of respect. But after I started following a little bit closer and seeing how they win games, and also you guys kind of brought it to my attention, they just annoy the fuck out of me. And the Yankees, though, I will tell you, Nestor, I have a tough time rooting against the guy. I like him. I think most
I like him too, because he's not he's not Garrett Cole. He's not throwing 100 miles an hour and just an absolute fucking machine who was born to pitch, right? He beats you with that fucking Johnny Cueto trickery. He beats you with his mind. So you got to respect it. I hate the uniform he wears. I hate everything he represents.
Right.
But him as a player, he's very cool. Just like Aaron Judge.
Yeah, Aaron Judge is cool too. And so just my gut. I saw the opener at 6, although the over is getting money. I think it's up to 6.5. But I thought that opener led me to believe that both pitchers probably do well. I'm still going with the Yankees. I was going to stay off when I heard about Nestor not pitching in 2 weeks. That does scare me. And Jovan, correct me if I'm wrong, but our experience as Rays fans just recently in the Guardians series, I think we had 2 relievers, Fairbanks, who didn't pitch for like 9 days, and he came out and he walked the first 2 batters. And he only lasted like, I don't know, I think that was it. And I think he got yanked. He just didn't have it. But I mean, if Jovan says it's nothing to worry about, maybe it's a different style of pitching. I trust that. I'm good with that. I think the line move says a lot. They're a little public, but they're also really sharp. I think Jovan mentioned they had a 135 opener, but they're up to 160, 165 right now. So I'm going with the Guardians. I'm backing Nestor on some Ks, even though I know the Guardians don't strike out a lot. And I'm going back to my man Rizzo to hit another nuke.
Okay. Jovan, are there any weird squares up on Prize Picks that are telling you anything about this game? And also, I have to make note of this. The umpire behind the plate in this game has a huge strike zone. Top 5 in K rate out of all umpires in the league. So I don't know if that makes you guys like, Nestor more. I feel like that's going to help both pitchers, honestly. And it makes me like the under more, right? It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Jovan, any weird squares on there for this game?
There's a lot of new Yankees. So I'll say that.
Some late ads on the Yanks.
I wouldn't say late, but a lot of different ones. Like I don't think we've seen Stanton on the board in the playoffs in that first game yet, or really at the end of the regular season. He's got a 5 fantasy score, but he also has a half total base up, which is interesting. Donaldson hasn't really been on the board either. He's on the board today. They got Cabrera back on the board today. Trevino hasn't really been on the board, is back on the board today. I mean, they got over half the lineup up for a total base alone. So
against Bieber,
that tells me that a lot of these guys are going to hit this. Now, I mean, singles are really needed to cash it. So does that mean he gets hit up quite a bit? Not necessarily, but I would definitely lean probably one of those guys like Stanton or Donaldson taking one out the short porch.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm taking the Yankees minus 155 for a unit, trying to get the day started with a winner.
That's what I'm doing.
Hate to do it. I mean, DeGen, you said it perfectly. The Guardians have turned me into not as much of a Yankee hater. And in this series, I've become a Yankee fan, which I want to throw up just saying that out loud. But It's true. It's true. It really is.
So
I hate this team.
Wow. Too rested
on the lab.
I'm on 3 hours sleep here. I put up Temple numbers on an accounting exam at 8 a.m. You think I'm rested? Unreal.
Oh no, not Unreal. Good. Not good today.
Oh no, I got I might as well not even shown up. But
let's talk about that Temple game. That's a fresh sweatshirt.
Let's talk about the Temple game.
I mean, that was maybe my worst bet of all time. It was ridiculous. It got so out of hand. Were you guys tracking it? It was 13-14 with like 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and I was like, okay, Temple, this is exactly how I expected the game. Lower scoring and defense a little bit.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's 70-13 at the beginning of the fourth. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It was UCF just absolutely turned on the burners, and Temple got torched. That was me trying to be too sharp and thinking this was college basketball. Sometimes the UCF just stomps on Temple. That happens all the time in football. Just bigger men, bigger, faster, stronger, and better. And they were.
Yeah.
So that was my only loss yesterday. It is what it is. We move on. Hit a hockey bet yesterday, though. Calgary Flames. That was sharp.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying, "Oh, the Avalanche are plus money." Ooh. Well, they got fucking clapped. 5-1, I think, or 5-2. Free.
That was a perfect spot. I stayed off hand up, which that's a textbook contrarian betting market spot. If you read the lines,
that's on you, DeGen.
Well, it's okay. I had 5 hockey bets. I went 4-1, but I did want to wait. The narrative concerned me a little bit that the Avalanche were on a back-to-back, which I think is a little overblown early in the year. And one of the reasons I went to the Kraken yesterday. But that, I mean, the Avalanche at a plus price, the Stanley Cup champs, are going to always attract public attention. And then you've got the Flames going 110-130. Tells you everything you need to know. So I'm glad one of us on here hit it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good.
That was a very good bet.
There very well might be a very similar situation today.
I was going to say, please. I don't know shit about hockey, but if there's another crab line today, I'm ready to deploy, Jovan.
I mean,
please just say the words.
Yeah, DeGen, you can give your opinion too, but I feel like the Jets being minus 140 against the Rangers today is almost the exact same situation.
Exactly.
Rangers not only are on a back-to-back, but they put up 7 goals yesterday on Marc-Andre Fleury, and they're coming in at plus money today when they not only look great in that game, but they look really good against the Lightning. They look like one of the most complete teams in the league right now, and they're coming on the road to Winnipeg in what I think is their season opener, and they're plus 120-ish.
Yep. The only thing that scares me, the only thing that concerns me is sometimes I think a team that is rested has a disadvantage versus a team that's got a few games under their belt. I think the same could kind of be said maybe in baseball too. The maybe like, the Phillies coming out and taking game 1 in Atlanta, for example. But that would be the only apprehension. But honestly, I'm not going to overthink it. I agree. I stayed off of the Flames. I'm not going to stay off of the Jets. I'm going to go to that one. You said it best. It's a carbon copy of that game last night.
Oh man, I'm rolling over the unit from last night. It's not that hard.
You should.
We're doing it. Hockey cappers. That's who we are. Okay. Might not know who's on the fucking team, but also, has Winnipeg played a game yet this year?
Don't think so.
You don't think they have yet? Wow.
No, they haven't. That's what concerns me a little bit. I think that does favor a team that has played, which the Rangers have. They played 2 games now.
Yeah, they have. This will be their third game in 4 days.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I mean,
But it
like,
is early in the
from-
season.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. It is early in the
All right.
season. So they are still somewhat rested. I mean, obviously they played preseason, but that is the only thing that gives me some apprehension into leaning into that, betting on a rested team against a team on a back-to-back. But follow the move. Rangers are public. Absolutely agree the Jets got to be the play.
Yeah, and I assume they'd probably, like somebody said in chat, I doubt they're going with Igor, which also probably plays into the line a little bit. And
Yeah.
also the total going 6.5 to 6 or 6 to 6.5. So, I mean, it makes a little bit of sense to a degree, but I'm still going to ride with it.
I'm in. Just locked it in. Minus
Right.
135 on DK. Sure we can. Sure we can. Let's fucking go. All right. Any props in this early baseball game, Jovan? Anything you want to take? Anything Nestor related?
I mean, I would like to take his fantasy score, but that's the one part that does kind of worry me with him coming back.
No.
Like, I still think he's going to pitch well, but I don't know how long he's going to pitch. So,
I mean, he's definitely going to have a really short leash. They're going to, I mean, right?
I mean, I would think it would be shorter, and it seems that it'll be a little shorter with his fantasy score number, but not really. I don't know. I think he's going to pitch well, so like wouldn't be mad at sprinkling in something, but if length is an issue, I'm not really sure what the thing's going on.
Okay. All right. And I'm tailing Fruity today, whatever he fucking takes, and I really hope he's not on whatever hockey bet we just fucking faded. He's coming off a tough day, so
I shit my pants when he said he was on the Avs yesterday. I was like, fuck.
I know, not good.
Another reason
but hey,
I
we
sat
got to
that one
win.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good move, honestly.
I don't know how those guys bet. That's why I'm looking forward to kind of reading them. I don't know if they read markets or if they just read teams, but that's kind of where we can, find the middle. And if we align on that, then that's really when we should lean into it and press.
Okay. Sure. Well, I can't help but notice this line moving towards Atlanta with the Strider announcement. It's slowly been moving since the announcement. Now we're seeing Atlanta as a favorite, in most books here. I want to take Atlanta. I really didn't want to take Strider. I'll be honest with you. I hate backing this guy. He's too trendy for me, but I want to fade Nola in their first postseason game at home since 2011. I want to take it. There's going to be too much pressure. This is Aaron Nola. This is not Max Scherzer. And when the lights get bright and when he's pitching his first, home postseason game, maybe ever, it's got to be, right? I think he's going to fold like a lawn chair. I want to take this Braves lineup to get to him, a team that's experienced, a team that's been there before, a team that's getting the line movement their way with a young electric arm and crazy mustache who throws 100 miles an hour on the other ball. Okay? I want to take the Braves. What are you guys thinking?
I'm in the same boat. I want the Braves. I think they're going to come out and win this game. Like, people really only want to bet the Phillies, I would say, when Nola's on the mound, and that's today. Mm-hmm. Strider's coming back. Strider is someone who, when he is coming back, I mean, Austin Riley just sucks right now. That's
okay.
Wow. He's terrible. He's the guy that I've consistently seen drop that half a point on his fantasy score like every game, every single game.
Wow.
Can't hit right now.
Yeah, he's not. He's just bad. But Strider, I am a little more concerned about coming back from his injury, but at the same time, he is going to be limited. I think he's only going to go like 3 or 4 innings, and it's going to be the bullpen after that. But I don't know. I still lean the Braves here. I think I'll definitely have to be on that Aaron Nola under fantasy score because that is a very high line for somebody to be hanging while they have a 2 earned run prop with how he's pitched against this team this year.
Interesting. Okay. Jen, what are we thinking, bro? What does this game make you think?
Well, I'm happy to hear all that because I want to go back to the Braves, but I've liked the Braves every game in this series. And then in game 2, I was kind of the only one, and that concerned me because I was going against my contrarian brain, so I just stayed off. But I think this is one of those games. I don't remember exactly how many years the Phillies, since they've had a home playoff game. Is it like 10 years, 11 years, something like that? You know the stat?
11 years. 11 years since they haven't had a home playoff game. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, sorry. I guess you cut out. I could just see this being one of those games where the Braves get to Nola early. They silence the crowd immediately. Everybody's excited as shit before they even take their seats. The Braves already jump out to a lead. I'm going to play the Braves. I'm even going to take them. When I have these feelings, and especially when it's the road team, I'm going to take them to score first. I wanted to lean into the Braves heavy here and go with their team total over as well. But I'll probably just leave it at that. Braves score first and Braves on the game. Now, my question to you guys is, where do you pick your spots on? And I think somebody asked this in the chat, and I'm curious too, with the Yankees game. Would you go first 5 as opposed to full game between either of these games? Is there any sort of an advantage in terms of like the starters and bullpens, et cetera?
I think for me, I am very much debating going first 5 with the Braves just because Strider is going to be going, 3-4 innings. If he gets to 5, I think it'll be a miracle. And if he does, so be it. That'll be great. But I really don't know what their extended bullpen plans are after that. So that's something that I would really like to avoid. So that's the one I would keep. As far as the Yankees go, I don't really care. I think if they win the first 5, they win the game. I don't see something late happening in this game. I think it'll be a little earlier that one of the two teams will take control of that game, in my opinion.
I just don't think the Guardians are going to score today. I really don't. I think the magic has run out. The whole magic show is done. I don't think they're going to score. Even J-Ram is going up to the plate and striking out 1 or 2 times a game. He's not even locked in right now fully. So maybe we take the fucking Guardians TTU. Honestly. I'm already on the Yanks ML, though. I don't know why I'm fucking talking like that, but let's see. They're TTU 2.5. And you get plus 104 on some books for under 2.5 TTU. I don't hate that look. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I think if we keep it simple, we don't overthink it. The Yankees win this baseball game. The Braves win this baseball game. I think we keep it as simple as that, and those 2 bets are going to hit. I think. This is a good point, and Jovan brought this up earlier. We don't see Stanton up on the board very often, right? Maybe we get a nice postseason Stanton nuke.
It's not even the fact that he just isn't up much, but he has a 5 fantasy score, and he has a half total base up. That's really, really weird.
Why is his fantasy score so low?
I mean, it's Shane Bieber against a guy who does love to strike out, so it makes sense. It's just I don't know why it's up. I don't know why they chose a game against Shane Bieber to put not just the fantasy score but the total base up as well.
Because it's the only game you can bet on that starts in 7 minutes during the day, and everyone wants to take overs, and the overs aren't going to hit. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I mean, how many people are running to take Stanton overs though?
Trent literally sprinted and did it this morning. He just did it.
Well, Trent is Trent. He just wants to back some goats, but realistically, like a majority of people against a guy who has high strikeout stuff, I don't think too many people are running to Stanton.
You're probably right. Our guy plays from Jay is asking why we don't see any Strider props. I'm assuming it's because he's only going to pitch a couple innings, right?
Yeah, he's going to be.
They're going to piggyback. I mean, I trust that Braves bullpen. That Braves bullpen is quietly the best bullpen in the major leagues. They are.
Very good.
So I trust their bullpen. I'm taking them full game. I'm not getting cute with it. I'm not trying to fucking perform surgery. I'm just dropping the fucking hammer, picking 2 teams that are winning. And I think I'm going to go Braves and I'm going to go Yanks. The Yanks are already locked in. All this Philly hype, I think it's great and all. And I'm down to ride one of those narratives, right? There's another narrative in this late game we're about to talk about where they haven't had a home game in fucking a million years either. And that place is about to be electric. I'm sure you guys saw. Well, maybe it's tomorrow, but they have Jake Peavy throwing out the first pitch. It might be today. I think it is today. Jake Peavy's throwing out the first pitch, and he's wearing Joe Musgrove's jersey, and Joe Musgrove's catching it, and Joe Musgrove wears number 44 because of Jake Peavy. He was like his role model growing up, and that's the first home game they've had in like 15 years in a playoff game for the Padres. So, I don't want to fade both those narratives with Philly and San Diego. I think we split it. I obviously don't want to back both those narratives. Jesus. I mean, the public's going to be running to bet those narratives because they want to root for a good story, just like yesterday with Brian Robinson, right? Yeah. Thank God he cashed for the people, a man of the people. But I want to take the Padres tonight. I think they win this game. Gonsolin, he really hasn't pitched much either. I think he pitched like 2 innings about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer, and didn't really look that sharp. I watched it. didn't look that sharp. I mean, it was only 2 innings, whatever. And the guy was a Cy Young, potential winner. So got to take it with a grain of salt. But Blake Snell has looked, the best he's ever looked.
Yeah.
And this line is really, really short with, Cy Young Gonsolin on the bump, who has the craziest numbers ever, 16-1 with a 2 ERA against Blake Snell, who has a losing record. I want to take the Padres at a very small dog at home against the Dodgers tonight. What are you guys thinking?
So do I. I'm there. I don't think the line is too weird, being that it's Gonsolin against one of the best pitchers in the major leagues in the last couple months here since the All-Star break, whatever you want to call it. Being that he is also not as much a Strider, but he's going to be a little limited too. So I think the line's fine, but I think we're definitely going to get some runs here, especially off of Gonsolin. I mean, 7 to 7.5 too on the total in San Diego with these two pitchers going is definitely screaming my name as well. Like, I think that both these pitchers are going to go up and get hit up a little bit. And it's weird because Blake Snell has really good numbers against the Dodgers as a team, but when you look at some of the individual matchups against the guys, they hit them pretty well, which is why you've been seeing a lot of props.cash type props on Freddie Freeman and Trey Turner. I've been seeing that a lot already this morning. But yeah, I definitely lean the over here, and I definitely lean the Padres.
Is Gonsolin, does he have any pitch count props up on any sites or anything like that? Do we know how long he's going to go? Because he's definitely not going to go 100 pitches.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's on one. I can try and see if he has one listed anywhere. I
take a peep. Let's see what the Gen likes in this late night game tonight. What do we like in here?
I gotta lean Padres. I think it's kind of the lack of the line move is screaming to me. I thought, kind of to go against what Jovan said, I thought the line was maybe 10, 15 cents short. I thought it'd be maybe between 130, 140 at the highest. Again, just personally, but I also didn't really know about the pitch count. If that's the case, it makes sense to me a little bit, actually a lot more. But it looks like, and I'm kind of waiting to see more tweets and, hear more people and see what everybody's doing, because I would think the Dodgers would be public here. I know Snell's been really good as of late. I don't know. I think I was asking you guys earlier, is there a big difference? Has he been much better at home? Has he been better on the road?
Incredible.
He's just been incredible. Really fucking good the last 2 months.
And what was his recent? Has he had an outing against the Dodgers?
Yeah, He started twice against them in September, I think 2 weeks from each other, both at home. One of them he was lights out, and one of them he got rocked.
He got rocked in the first one, and then he pitched 5 innings, 1 hit ball in the second one.
Yeah,
because what Snell reminds me, or not what he reminds me of, but when I watch him pitch, I just think, because he throws so much junk, like if you're a disciplined type of team at the plate, like I would love to see him pitch against a team like the Guardians. But I feel like you'd have some success against him. But if you've got a bunch of Javi Baez's, he's going to have fucking 20 strikeouts. But I don't really know, like, the baseball brain angle, what to think here, other than the total trending up makes me really like. I like the Padres based off of the line in the game, and I like the total trending up. So I think the way I'm going to play this is probably Padres team total over in the first 5. What would you guys think about that?
That's you're performing heart surgery on this game. You're a cardiologist.
What am I doing too much?
First 5. Well, at the end of the day, you just got to click the right button. So
yeah.
If you're doing too much or too little, if the button's green, the button's green.
Of course.
You want to take first 5 Padres team total over. I mean, I obviously like that play. I lean that play. I might just want to, be invested in this game until I can barely keep my eyes open after some beers tonight. And I might want to take that plus 105 at home so I can, stay in the game the whole time. But that's sharp as shit. First 5 team total over for the Padres would be, let's see, over 1.5 minus 110, over 2.5 plus 175.
1.5 minus 110. I would think it should be juiced a little bit higher.
I think it'd be a little higher.
That scares me. Then it seems a little too free.
Hey, minus 105 to the over 1.5, minus 110 on a couple of different books.
Damn,
hey, we just gotta hope that the home run that Juan Soto hits the 2-run in the first shot.
Yeah. So you want to give your little Soto pitch, because I'm down to listen to it and get wrecked. What do we got?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a complicated pitch. Like, I mean, off the rip, he's very high in odds in pretty much everything, including home runs. But from a baseball brain side of things too, like Gonsolin's a perfect pitcher around the face. We see a lot of fastballs. That's perfect for Juan Soto. He's very disciplined, and a 6 fantasy score that he's out on Prize Picks as well is very enticing. Not just with the fact that takes 2 hits to push, but the walk is also a part of that. Walk and score and give me a single, and that's cash. I just love that matchup for him. I think it's perfect. And I like the Padres to score some runs today, and I think he will 100% be involved.
Love that.
Okay. You like his fantasy score?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you could take – I mean, he has the new category too. I think both of those hit today.
Okay. All right. I mean, I could get behind it. I mean, Soto's got balls of steel. This dude literally won a World Series, put the team on his back when he couldn't even drink yet. He's an absolute machine. I can get behind it. Any other props you like today, Jovan, in these games?
Nothing in particular. It's not too much. I think there's just a bunch of there's Nola, and then there's a bunch of guys total base wise that you could take a stab at, but there's none that are really screaming at me to take, I would say.
Soto has a strikeout square up, which is interesting. I mean, Soto is not a strikeout guy at all, but recently he has been a strikeout guy.
Yeah.
He's been striking out a ton. And I don't know why Prize Picks is lagging for me. I don't know if it's lagging for you too. I'm trying to see his last couple games here. But he's been striking out a ton. And that's interesting. They're putting Juan Soto up there for strikeouts. Kind of disrespectful, in my opinion.
Well, what do you think the average bettor is going to bet an over with a strikeout prop?
No, it's Juan Soto. They'll probably take his under.
Okay,
his under strikeouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's a big name player.
He's quietly been striking out way more than I've ever seen him in his entire career right now. So
got it. Because Justin Turner was up and the contrarian play was the under there, right?
I think it was. I mean, I was on that. Yeah, I think it was. And that didn't hit. He still struck out.
Right.
And then they have Austin Nola up there for a strikeout, which I'd like his under. That's disgusting. That's a gross square. Is his under strikeouts.
I mean, if you do want to talk about something gross, I know he's hitting leadoff, but he hasn't gotten a hit since Nam. They put Kyle Schwarber up for half a base today, which I think is really weird. They've been having his fantasy score up for every single game, and they reverted to no fantasy score and a total base prop up.
Maybe because he's been so shitty, and they want people to take that prop because it seems easier to hit, and it's still not going to hit.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've been going back and forth on it. That's another one where I think absolutely nobody is running to take that with how horrendous he's looked.
I don't disagree. I just try to stay in the mindset of the public bettor, and I just don't think public bettors are clicking unders on Prize Picks. I really just don't. I really don't.
That's fair.
So anytime I can take an under on Prize Picks, like with Nola under strikeout, where the guy could get pinch hit for in the 7th inning and only get 2 or 3 at bats in the game, that's the kind of shit I want to take. That's disgusting. And I'll be giving that a look too. I mean, what do you think about that Nola prop? He's actually looked decent at the plate of late.
Yeah, he has. And that what was it? It was yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever the Justin Turner day was. He was also up, and I was also on his under, which he did strike out. I'm 99%.
He struck out both games of the series. Yep, I'm looking at it right now.
So I mean, it seems like the pretty simple.
The over seems free, right? He struck out both games of the series so far, and he's a shitty hitter. He's a terrible catcher. Defense first. His over should be free, right?
Yeah, should be.
Let's take his under. Looking at these pitcher fantasy scores, I wish there was more stuff up. I'll be honest with you. I really do. I'm a little disappointed. Really not that many squares up from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's tough to navigate.
Are you giving Nola under fantasy score a look still?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Because I mean, it scares me in the fact that it's such a high number because, like throughout the playoffs, we haven't seen numbers nearly as high, but I just think it's really weird with how he's pitched and how he's pitched against the Braves too, specifically in a couple of his starts. They're hanging the 35.5, but they're hanging 2 even earned runs. I think that's really, really weird. Really, really weird. So
you lost the gen there for a sec.
Yeah, he's going.
His Wi-Fi's beat. Okay.
Yeah, he's checking. Out.
You're good, Gen. No stress, bro. Just hop back in.
Yeah.
And there he goes. All right, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, he's checking out.
Okay. Any other squares that we need to talk about? There's not a lot of squares up for fucking baseball today. Well, there are a lot of total bases and fantasy scores.
There are, yeah. I mean, There's none of them that are.
Nothing's really catching my eye, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, just nothing. Not a great looking slate today or anything. So
They've got Stott up again.
yeah, I mean they have everybody for the Phillies up pretty much.
Yeah, why is that? That's starting to scare me a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I think with them it's more of a thing of who's going to do it, because like they also had Castellanos up and took him down because assuming they saw the bad news.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to hit 3 bombs today, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's actually wild that they did that. They took that shit down.
Yeah.
You know, a square that piques my interest, and it's definitely a ridiculous square, would be Freddie Freeman under 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs after he was absolutely locked in at the plate in the last game.
Yeah.
I feel like that seems like the easiest over in this category.
Definitely does. Definitely does.
Definitely does. I could get behind that.
Yeah.
Lefty on lefty, too.
I don't dislike that. Not one bit.
Is he up for a fantasy score or just that 1.5?
6.5 fantasy.
Would you rather take his under 1.5 or his under fantasy?
It's a great question.
I think I'd rather take his under 1.5 because he's going to get walked a lot, I think. Or at least pitched around.
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of what aligns more with being able to happen without the under in this game. Because like we like runs. But
Oh, we do like runs in this game. Interesting.
I don't know. We'll see. Now that I'm looking at it too, though, I mean, I didn't see Hoskins square. Hoskins also is in the same exact situation as Schwarber, except with an even lower fantasy score, 4.5, and he has the total bases up. And then Eddie Rosario, he has a half total base, but he also has a half hits, runs, and RBI.
Damn.
Which I don't think I've seen that yet. It's making me think he walks and scores. Something crazy.
Holy smokes.
Maybe he goes yard.
I hope not. Apparently the Yankees made a crazy double play. Oh,
back.
I think I'm
10-4. 10-4s.
Yeah,
hearing words now.
Yep, you're good. Your video was blagging. I couldn't really hear anything you were saying. I saw some guy in the chat, by the way, say the Guardians hit a 2-run bomb. That wasn't very cool.
No.
Oh my god, dude! Who's saying that?
Fake bang, Jovan. You saw that too?
Yeah, I saw that.
I almost had a heart attack. I don't know. Some guy did.
Come on now. Damn, they had 2 on, no outs, and they got out of it. Let's fucking go.
There we go.
Wow.
There we go.
Let's fucking go. Fake bangs will not be tolerated, especially during the playoffs. Grow the fuck up.
Absolutely.
Right? Come on.
Right.
Absolutely.
Look yourself in the mirror. Be a man. Grow up. All right. There we go, Nestor. Way to get out of that shit. Let's go hit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's go hit. Hell yeah. That's
covered some baseball.
Concerning.
It's
a little concerning that he let 2 people on there. Back-to-back singles to start the inning. Okay, not walks though.
One of them was a bunt. So
hilarious.
Yeah.
Typical.
Lead off.
Guardians. Why not?
Lead off bunt.
Why not?
Fucking hilarious. All right, you want to go to college football real quick? There's some games today.
Let's head to the gridiron.
All right, what are we thinking? What are we liking?
Are we talking today or just everything as a whole?
Let's do today. Let's do today.
I mean, you know I'm on Smoo.
Okay.
SMU with the points. There's just no team in college football that's due for more positive regression on offense than SMU, and turnovers have been a big part of that. But they're going to face a Navy defense that is just not good. Tanner Mordecai is going to feast. Rashee Rice is going to feast. Rashee Rice's numbers on Prize Picks, he's at 9 catches and 124.5 yards. So that tells you the kind of day he's about to have today. So they're gonna run all over Navy. The only caveat, I guess you would say, is I don't know that SMU's run defense is going to be able to contain Navy, which I guess kind of leads me more to the over as well in that game. But yeah, it's a definite issue because I mean, not just TCU, but a lot of teams they played have run all over them. But I just don't think that Navy's going to be able to keep up with them offensively. I think Tanner Mordecai is going to have a great game as long as he can keep the interceptions out of the equation, which is a big if. I think he'll be just fine.
So I'm a Navy fan. I grew up in that area. My sister goes to that school. I followed that football program. They're a shadow of what they used to be. They used to be legit. They used to be ranked. They used to, I mean, they had athletes on that team playing QB who went to the league, right? With Keegan Reynolds, Malcolm Perry back in the day. These guys were legit. This year, not so much. Not so much. They got out to a really bad start, but of late they have looked a lot better. And what worries me, like I hate betting against these military schools because the effort level is through the roof the entire game. And they're literally they're never going to give up. They're always going to try. They're a team you want your coins on generally because they're always going to try to cover and score every possession. They don't give up.
Yep.
And it sounds corny as shit, but it's actually true if you watch them play. These kids have heart. They really do.
Right.
And that worries me against SMU. But
it worries me a ton too. But what kind of gives me the green light is, I know it's different week, different scenario, whatever you want to call it, but Memphis is a team who is built very, very similarly to SMU, and they destroyed Navy, not just score-wise, but they dominated them in yardage. Their run defense is also not great, but they've managed to stop them somehow, some way. And they got them destroyed with chunk plays down the field, which, again, with Rashee Rice and a lot of those wide receivers, it's going to be exactly what they're about to do. So that's giving me some hope.
I mean, I also like that SMU hasn't covered in a month, and Navy has covered the last 3 games, obviously. So you're going to get the books overcompensating a little bit towards Navy here. I need to look at the line movement before I make my final decision. I'm down to fade Navy. I hate doing it, but if it's the right spot and SMU's got the recipe to put up hella points against them, I'm in, especially with Navy being a covering machine of late. And I know this team is a little bit fraudulent. I hate to say it, but they are.
Yeah.
And I think people might have a little bit of bias from this Navy squad the last couple of years where they've been decent. They have. But this is the worst team they've had in over a decade.
Yeah.
Let's check out this line movements. You're already on SMU, right?
Yeah, I got him in. I put him in Tuesday. I saw it open 10 or 10.5. It got up to 12.5. I even heard at some places it got up to 14, and then there was buyback on Navy. But that doesn't really concern me because that's a huge move. And I think you said it really well. Military schools getting this big of a spread. Everybody expects them to keep it tight. Everybody expects a low-scoring game. But if you look at what's happening in the market, 56 up to 57. And then SMU already opening a double-digit favorite, which, again, like you pointed out, they haven't covered. And the last time, the recency or the recent game, rather, that the public remembers is SMU as a 3-point dog against UCF and getting their ass kicked. So I think the opener tells all. I think the movement tells all with the total and the side. I think and I bet Navy against Army and talked one of my friends into it. And I think Army went right down the field and scored. And the entire game, he just kept texting me, Navy fucking sucks. Navy fucking sucks. And I don't know how they covered. They were double-digit dog there. I think they only lost by 3.
You said against Air Force 2 weeks ago? Air Force?
I think it was against Army.
It was against Air Force.
Air Force. I'm sorry. Yeah,
they were 14-point dogs, and they lost by 3 in the worst game of all time. Yeah,
that's what it was. I think they opened 16 down to 14. I was like, oh, Navy's pretty sharp. Regretted it from the first drive, and they covered. But they've won 2 of 3, and then it's the complete opposite story of SMU. So yeah, I really like SMU in this spot. I didn't get the best number. I think I got it at 13. It's back down to 12.5 for 12, I think. But I think the over or Navy's probably one of those. Are the plays tonight.
Okay. Well, Bieber looks really good right now. He's got 2 outs already. He's looking sharp. He struck out Judge. We'll see what happens. Man. We're gonna need Nestor to be nasty today. Plain and simple. Because
he will.
He will.
Bieber is looking gross right now.
Isn't that pretty typical? The first inning after a long, rest. That's where you want to take advantage if you're the opposing team. So
I'd hope that's what Kitch is saying. Let's got to settle in a little bit.
Totally agree. He came away unscathed. I'm confident.
There you go, Kitch. Yeah, I'll hop on SMU. I can get behind it. Oh, there's a base knock. There we go. All you gotta do is gas him up a little bit, and next thing you know, he's Patrick Corbin up there.
Bieber looks great.
Here comes
Stan. Let's go. All right, let's get a dinger here, and let's get these 2 runs in. Come on now. All right. Well, anything in this UTSA FIU game? FIU is terrible.
This feels like the UCF game. Same thing.
Yeah,
stay away probably.
Yeah, getting a spread that's over half of the total with the clear team discrepancy. It just feels like they win like 50-10.
Yep.
Okay. That's it for college today. We want to go into some college plays for the weekend. Let the people know what's good. Let the people know what's green.
Sure.
Yeah. I've got a couple plays already locked in, which I'm sure you guys can get behind if you're not already on them already. I took TCU earlier this week, -3.5. I think they're -4 on most books now, so that's fire. I took Florida State +4 a couple days ago. I think they're 3.5 on every book, which is really fucking fire.
Yep.
Starting to get these bets in a little bit earlier now, trying to get some good numbers here, some good CLV, as our capitalized guys would say. You guys know I don't give a shit about CLV. At the end of the day, we just need to click the right button. But if I can get a bet in that I know I'm going to take a little early and get a better line, so be it. I'm going to do it. Right?
Yep.
Arrest me. Those are the two college plays I have locked in so far. There's a bunch of other ones that I like that I want to talk about, but I want to pass the baton to you guys. Jovan, you got any bets locked in already?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have TCU locked in. I did that a while ago. I did lock in FSU as well yesterday because on the book that I was on, I found a 4 still, which was nice. I was going to wait to see if they got back up to 4 at game time.
Okay.
Luckily, I found one anyway.
Here we go.
But like we were talking about it yesterday, and I wrote it in the Gens newsletter. This Arkansas BYU over is starting to become one of my favorite plays, if not the favorite.
Okay.
Plays. It's still, with as bad as the Arkansas defense is, I don't really care. I don't think this line really deserves to be this high. They've been bad, but this is a BYU offense that their quarterback Jaron Hall is a little banged up. They haven't been good. You look at the games they've played against these better teams, more physical defenses. Against Oregon, 20 points. Notre Dame, 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Baylor, it took them 2 overtimes to get 26. In their team total, look at this too. Team total, because they're half of where the game total is that I had to pick them. Team total at 33.5. Their team total against USF in the first game of the year was 35.
Damn.
So this is, I don't want to use the whole SEC bias thing, but this is obviously a much more physical team than they're going to have seen all year. So it doesn't make much sense for a team who struggles against those defenses to have numbers this high. And then with KJ Jefferson too coming back, I just think their offense is going to run all over them.
Oh shit!
Look at that! Look at that!
Let's bring those 2 runs home.
What we get?
How about we bring those 2 runs home, huh? How about a Stan Nuke piece? How about a Stan Nuke piece for the team?
We go.
We called that.
Let's fucking go. Bring those 2 runs home, motherfuckers. Come on.
Go.
Let's fucking go, Stanton.
Love it.
That's why he was up on PP today. Come on. Let's fucking go. Yes.
God, I love Prize Picks.
Shane Bieber looks so great. Oh my God.
I love how you guys
so
can read Prize Picks. It's fascinating.
I told Jovan this like a couple months ago. I'm like, dude, you live in the app. We need to utilize what you see on the fucking board that looks weird as shit and use it in our bets, right? Yep. So that's on us. I mean, it was right before the fucking game, but we should have locked in Stanton Nuke. Jovan, I guarantee, has a fucking ticket in his pocket right now.
No, I didn't. I do not.
Wow, what a call.
At least you're honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
At least you're honest. Let's fucking go, boys. Come on. Good inning. All right, Nestor, go out there and shove. Come on. Come on. Hate to say it, but god damn, let's go Yanks. That was electric. Yeah. Absolutely electric. Let's go, Beeve. We got a Beeve in chat. Come on. Beeve texted me today. He goes,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, of course it was a short porch. Beef texted me today and he was like, yeah, this umpire has a fucking huge strike zone. Beware. Watch out.
Love that.
And he's not wrong. Like right before that home run, the ump missed a ball 4 call and called it a strike. Thank God he did. Shout out that blind ump because it gave us 2 runs. Fire.
Wow.
We'll take it. Yeah, Stanton was pissed. He was like walking around taking his time. Next pitch, bomb. Let's fucking go. Electric. All right, DeGen, what do you like in college football?
Well, I'd love to obviously at some point talk about the biggest games on the board, even though I'm not I'm not necessarily playing in them, but I've got an interesting one. I really like Maryland this week, going against Indiana. They're opened 10. They got bet up to 11.5 quickly. You know what I like doing? I like fading teams that the jury's kind of out on, like, are they good? Are they bad? I don't know, but they have a big game, and that's Indiana. Indiana played Michigan last week. They were 21-point favorites. They got up to 22.5. They ended up covering the closing number, but they hung with Michigan through 3 quarters. They were only trailing 17-10, And shame on me because I watched Michigan for almost the whole game against Iowa, and I do not think their offense is very good. And I said I was going to fade in the next game, but I got scared off by that line move. But I was following Michigan, Indiana, just kicking myself the whole time. And then Michigan pulled away late. They scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I think they ended up winning 31-10. But I think an Indiana team in this spot has got to be out of gas. The sports phrase is they played their Super Bowl. And I think this is a big spread for the Maryland team. I think this is a good Maryland team. And I believe they're coming off a loss. I think they lost to Purdue, who Purdue seems to be getting their shit together.
So O'Connell's playing decent.
Yep. So, I look at the tickets and it's nothing that really scares me. They seem to be pretty split, like a little bit down the middle, maybe slightly more towards Maryland, but that, I can't shake that move. Again, it's just one of those things over the years of following sports. I like to fade a team, again, after they just got up for a big opponent at home. I think they're going to be kind of out of gas. So I'm going Maryland.
Yeah, I don't hate this. I think Maryland as a football program is still undervalued. I think this team has some fucking dogs on them. I think Mike Locksley, the guy, their head coach who came over from Bama a couple of years ago, is actually putting this team in a really good spot, straight up. And I hate to say it, I have a bunch of buddies who went to Maryland, and the last thing I need is for them to start talking shit about how their football team is better than VT. But right now they are. And I like Mike Locksley as a coach. There's plenty of talent in the DMV that UMD has finally started to actually get. We know they've always had really good receivers. They still have really good receivers, and they have Tua's little brother, a quarterback who's actually fucking good. When he's healthy, the dude's just hurt all the time. You're getting Maryland laying a fat spread on the road, a football team that's literally a joke in most people's eyes, against Indiana, who, as a football program as a whole, is definitely pretty good, I'd say. And this year they're not. So it's the perfect balance here, DeGen. You're taking the undervalued shit program who's actually good, laying a fat spread against a good football program, historically good, who's actually kind of mid this year. So I love it. I can get behind it. Fuck the money. Fuck where the line's moving. UMD is definitely the play here. I like it. What else?
Let's see. I was really thinking about Penn State. I'm not going to spend too much time on this game, but you know what? All I'm hearing though all week is that they like Penn State with the points, and now everybody seems to be saying what I said last week, that they're not really convinced with this JJ McCarthy guy and this Michigan offense, and so I think the secret's out, and now it's become too public to fade Michigan, and I think Penn State's becoming a trendy dog. I was really also another one that I think people should be mindful of, Syracuse. The line looks weird on the surface, but I think NC State's quarterback is out, Devin Leary, if I'm not mistaken. So now, in my opinion, I'd probably buy the bad news, if anything, and consider going NC State there. But one road dog that I absolutely love is LSU. Nobody really likes LSU. Nobody really likes Brian Kelly. Obviously, all off season, the viral videos of him and his terrible fucking fake Southern accent, and me being a Notre Dame fan, like, I don't like Brian Kelly as a person, as a great coach. LSU can be just fine. People started to maybe come around to them after that Mississippi State win, but they jumped off quickly last weekend after they got their shit kicked in what was, now we know, a fake sharp spot by Tennessee.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. So now you got Florida, who I think people still don't really, they really like Anthony Richardson, and Anthony Richardson's still not a very good quarterback. He's a playmaker. He's fun, but Florida as an underdog is much better than a favorite. They're not very good as a favorite. They were favored against USF at home. They won the game by like 4 points. They were a 6-point favorite against Kentucky. They lost outright. I just think this is a spot where LSU is going to go in. If you look at the data too, it looks like Florida's pretty public because they're such a short price, but they opened 3 and they went down to 2.5. So I really like it at 3. Even if it's at 2.5, I would even buy that 0.5 point and get it LSU with a field goal.
Yeah, I think the point you said that stuck with me the most was everyone's jumping ship after last week, them getting absolutely destroyed. And that's true. I'm not in any rush to bet LSU this week, although I do like that side as a lean for sure. But I don't know if I'm ready to get hurt again by Brian Kelly and this fucking poverty team. But I do agree with you. Florida is also POV, And Richardson is really fun and all and has a really cool play every other week, but the guy can't throw for shit.
No.
And he's probably going to lose this game.
Yep.
So I'm with you.
Yep.
I like it. Should we talk about some of these bigger games this week?
Yeah, you want to talk about Bama up to 8.5 now?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Why is the line moving this way with all the money coming in on Tennessee? Why?
Why do you think, man?
Well, I know the answer.
Okay.
I
No.
know
I know you know the answer, but
Yeah.
you got to realize this many points with Tennessee now being discovered by everyone as being the real deal. And I'm invested not as much as you are. You got to make the playoffs a great number. I want to take it, but you can't. We've already seen this twice. Bama was contrarian at Arkansas. Georgia was contrarian at home against Auburn last weekend. They're getting in the between 20 and 30% of the bets. Both of them cover. I'm not playing a side. I'm not playing Bama, but I would caution you or anyone going to take Tennessee money line or with the points. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It really blows. It blows because I circled this game before the season.
I heard you
saying that Tennessee is going to win. And at this point, everything is pointing in my brain towards Bama. And it really sucks. It really sucks. And I'd like to stick by my guns and roll with Tennessee at this point, but I also don't want to just lose hundreds of dollars for no reason.
Yep.
It's really tough.
Yep.
It's tough. So maybe I just don't bet it and be responsible and show growth and stay away and just root for Tennessee because I have a futures ticket. You don't have to have money on every game. I feel like I have to remind myself that sometimes.
That's the beauty of futures tickets.
That is true.
You are invested year long, so you don't have to go in every single week in these spots.
Except last night, West Virginia.
What do you?
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to pick your spots.
What? Maybe this is what they should do for gambling addicts. Instead of having them go to rehab, you just have them only place futures, and then they're not allowed to bet games. And that way, it's better.
I agree. The counter argument there that why people are against futures is because you have so much of your bankroll tied up for 12 weeks or so long, which I get that. But someone like me who needs action all the time, one of my favorite things to do is to bet season totals on hockey and baseball teams. So I don't need to go in and fade or back these teams. I'm already invested. So it's, you spread it out over the season, right? You got $5 a game almost, depending on what you put on it. So that's just one thing to consider. But don't kick yourself
like that. When you split up like that, though, then that's really not enough action on each game. It's not going to cut it.
put the future bet. More of the future.
Yeah. Bet. Straight up. Oh, man. All right. Well, I guess we can all agree that Alabama is unfortunately the sharp play, and they're very rarely a sharp play, so they're probably going to absolutely roll and win this game by 15. Yes. We already kind of touched on TCU. DeGen, are you on TCU as well?
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. I'll keep this very quick. Oklahoma State, I think this is another good angle for people. Look at these teams' win totals before the year. Baylor, 7.5. They just won the conference. What does that tell you? Michigan State just won 11 games, 7.5. Oklahoma State was 8.5. Now, granted, they're off to a great start at 5-0. This team's going to lose games. They're telling you that TCU and Oklahoma State is basically a pick 'em, or TCU is 1 point better on a neutral field. That's all I need to know, because on paper, people still think Oklahoma State's the better team. The public's grabbing them with the points. I love TCU.
Yep.
To be fair, too, though, I will say TCU's win total was 6.5, but I feel like they just got that way wrong. So I think
that's also a team that wasn't in the spotlight the previous year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected this team to play this well.
Exactly.
Which scares me a little bit for sure, because they could come back down to earth against a really good opponent.
1,000%.
They could come back down to earth against Spencer Sanders. He could absolutely torch them. He could.
So I'm saying another reason like why I like TCU, unbiased opinion, is because this is such a common letdown scenario for Oklahoma State. Like we see this time and time again. It's happened actually in this exact scenario 2 years ago. Oklahoma State, when they went to Texas Tech, they played a super close game. Their defense got exposed. Really all facets of their game got exposed, but they pulled out a win. Then they came to TCU, and Spencer Sanders looked horrendous, and they beat them with probably the worst roster they've had in some time. And they do this time and time again when they play these close games in conference, and then they go on the road the next game and they lay an egg. So it's an Oak State fade situation constantly.
Love it.
I want to go over some tweets. Since 2005, when college football teams are 5-0 or better play, the underdog cashes. So here's your Penn State to Jen. Tennessee's in here too, which gives me life, although I don't like this trend, and this has to come back down to earth. And then you're getting OK State here. So this is making my brain feel all types of different ways, this tweet. I don't like it.
It's not good.
No, it's not good. It's not good. It's good and bad at the same time. Yankees stole a base. There we go. Okay. Man on second, one out. Good. Nice. Let's get this running. Come on. Let's get this running. Some other tweets I thought were worth bringing up here. Public teams. We got to talk about Oklahoma and Jovan. I know we've gone back and forth on this game a little bit of, or do we want to play Oklahoma or not? I think I'm at the point where I have to play them and I have to fade this Kansas team, who is the Orioles of college football. I have to fade them. I do. Now, what I don't like is that now I'm starting to see this line come back towards Kansas. Yeah. It hit 9, and now it's starting to come back to 8.5. And I was actually about to lock this bet in last night, but I went to check the line movements like a responsible gambler, and didn't like that I saw the pullback there on the line. So I'm a little sketched. I want to know your guys' fucking reads on it, but I mean, 82% of bets on Kansas plus 9. Can't ignore that.
This line just feels way too sharp for me. I feel like it's gonna end up being a middle piece, like a lot of these Big 12 lines have been, including like the Kansas TCU game last week.
Right.
So I mean, I definitely lean Oklahoma with the points, with how much the public is on Kansas and the whole quarterback situation, but I can't get myself to bet it because I feel like it does end up somewhere in the middle, and especially with it coming down back towards Kansas, it feels like it's going to be a Kansas or the Orioles situation. They covered by a point or half point.
Well, I'll bet it for you. Did John?
Yeah, I'm going to play it just because I have to play it, but I will say, as a contrarian who buys bad news and sells good news, this situation with Kansas and their backup quarterback and Oklahoma getting their starting quarterback really concerns me, and it really throws me off entirely with the spread. But I just can't get over the fact that Oklahoma just lost to Texas 49-0.
They got shut out.
Backup quarterback or not, you're still fucking Oklahoma. And at home, and then obviously what they did in TCU, this is probably one of the worst Oklahoma teams in my 35 years of existence. Yeah. I don't know how it gets much worse. So I ended up just saying, fuck the good and bad news situation. I got to play it. But do I think they're fake sharp? Yes, I wouldn't argue against it. But just one unit, just to be sure, because I think it's the craziest line I've seen all year.
I have to be on this play. Like, maybe they're trying to scare off the sharps on Oklahoma here with making this line so fat, but they just got shut out 49-0 at home. This is Oklahoma.
Wow.
And like you said, this is the worst Oklahoma team we've really ever seen. And Kansas is unbeatable. They are a covering machine. Kansas has not covered a game this season, right? It's like they're absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Everyone loves betting on Kansas. And I'm seeing on Twitter, people are like, this backup is better than fucking Daniels. People are saying. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Great
what I saw last year. But people are like, this backup's not bad. And he's played before. He's played last year. I think it's a must play for Oklahoma here, especially after seeing this. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, this is – I got to fade him.
I will say, like, I think that to a degree, I think this is people not understanding how bad the quarterback situation is with Oklahoma too.
Yeah.
Davis Bevel in the Texas game and the second half of the TCU game threw for like 28 yards combined.
Yeah, it was bad.
So
they got goose egged at home. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, and they couldn't really do anything but run the ball because you can't throw the ball. So I mean, I think to a degree, like, Vegas is very aware of that, and they know how much better this offense is with Dylan Gabriel. Not just because he's their starting quarterback, but it makes a significant difference.
Yeah, I think for sure.
it adds on
For
to that.
sure. And if this line was at 6, I probably wouldn't be betting it. I probably wouldn't. If this line was at 5, I really would not be betting this.
Yeah.
But it's too fat. It's too fat. I have to play it. I have to
agree.
play it. But Jen, what's the game plan here? Because the line's starting to come back. Do we sit back and watch and make sure it doesn't come back to like 8 or 7.5? God forbid.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Wait
if
at
it
this
does,
point?
yeah, just wait at that point, I guess. I mean, if it's already coming back, you might as well. I got it at 8.5 on the way up, so I'm just kind of staying put. If it moves down a full point to 7.5, I'm just gonna basically count it as a loser. But
okay. So here's the most bet games. Obviously, not really shocking, in my opinion. Most bet teams, obviously, Tennessee, Kansas, Penn State. Most bet and tickets and money. So go ahead and keep me far away from any of these teams at this point. Hate to see this. Really ruins my Saturday. Really wanted to bet on this team. I really don't think I want to lose hundreds of dollars just by sticking by a team that I had been gassing up all year. I think I just sit back, relax, enjoy the future, and watch it and root for them, which I haven't done in a game in years. Maybe it'll be fun. I don't know. I don't watch games that I don't have action on unless it's my teams, right? Unless it's my Nats or the Caps or whatever, the Skins. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not watching these games. There's no point. There's games on that I have action.
Of course.
This could be first. This could be good for me. This is growth. I could get behind it. What about let's see some other games we should talk about here, some other ranked games.
Talk about this one.
We got to talk about Utah. I want to absolutely nuke Utah. I want to nuke them. Like a ton of money, a concerning amount of money, a mini Megalodon. I want to fucking take out a loan and bet on Utah this weekend. That's how weird this fucking line is. Straight up. So feed me your analysis. What do we got? And stop me from doing it. But also tell me that Utah's going to cover.
The Jen looks like he's going to try and stop you from doing it.
I don't like it.
What?
I don't like it. I think it's too obvious. But you're not wrong. Look, this is probably me just overthinking it. There's everything you just said and how you feel about this game. And I know you've done this for years. I've done this for years. I'm telling you, when you see a spread that is so insane as a contrarian thinker, you already are counting it as a winner. Because
this is what I do, DeGen. This is because I see this game and I put more units on it, and that's the one that doesn't hit, and then all the other ones hit, and I end up breaking even.
Exactly. So I always try to identify a trap that is so obvious, even your average public bettor who doesn't think like that can spot. In my opinion, it's this game. And again, Utah won the Pac-12. Cameron Rising hadn't lost a game. They took Ohio State to the brink in the best bowl game of the year, 8.5 win total. So this team is going to lose some games. But
I've already lost more games than I expected, though.
I know. But I still think there's another loss or two out there. I really do. It's 8.5 for a reason. That's what I always say. But this is, without a doubt, I'm not disagreeing. It's probably the craziest line. That and FSU, in my opinion. Oklahoma, obviously, but like the most sharpest contrarian lines. And it looks like USC is getting hammered with bets and the line's not budging. So you should play it, but I don't think I'd go too crazy. I'm staying out of it entirely.
Let me ask you, though, if we're talking about being a trap, would people not look at the same exact line that they had for the Utah UCLA game last week? Because this was it's the same 3.5 line that UCLA came out and murdered them in. A lot, even that close.
That's a great point. I don't think most people, when you look at the Tennessee LSU game, I think they just went away saying that all right, LSU sucks. We thought they were good after Mississippi State. LSU sucks. I think they went away from that game saying finally the DRT and Chip Kelly and UCLA got their shit together rather than saying Utah sucks. I think people still think Utah is good, and they are good. They are good. And I love Kyle Whittingham. He's one of my favorite coaches. But again, it's just so insanely obvious to me of this spread being sketch. That's why it concerns me, and I'm just out of it. But I do think their styles of play, I think that Utah should be able to do whatever they want against USC. Yep.
I will be 100% taking Tavion Thomas's rushing yard square this week.
What do you think it's at?
I saw it. I think it was 75.5.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus
75.5.
Christ.
Can't
dude.
stop it. And I took it last week. I took Nakia Watson for Wazoo, which he got hurt in the first quarter, so he didn't hit it. But the backup came in and ran for 130. And I think it's going to be plenty of that because, like you said, their style of play, they're not going to beat Utah or beat USC in a shootout. And they tried to do that for a little bit with UCLA through the air last week. Look what happened. They plenty of turnovers, plenty of third and longs. They're going to run the shit out of the ball. And UCLA can't stop it. Simple as that. And they're going to continue to do it. Utah is not an explosive offense, and they're going to be explosive in the ground game against UCLA.
Jovan, do you think that line's low?
For his rushing yards?
Yeah.
Not really.
No? Okay. I thought it would be in the 80s.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's only gone over this once. It was last week.
The other fucking weeks he was not great.
Yeah.
Before last week, the most yards he had was 60 yards. Last week he put up a 91 pace stuff.
He did go over it against Florida quite a bit. So one other game.
Week 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be on it, but you did say all the right things to Jen, so maybe I won't absolutely unleash the hounds on it. God damn it. I mean, you're right, though, because I'll go too heavy on one play, and then that'll be the one that loses, and all the other bets will hit, and I'll end up fucking back to even. It's bullshit.
Well, here's what I tell you.
Everything with a unit.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, I just put 5 units on the fucking Commanders last night, so I'm not exactly the most responsible person. Take command. Ask your friends. Ask like 4 or 5 people, and I'm dead serious. See what they say.
I asked one of my roommates, but he's kind of a low-key a USC fan, and he said he can't do it because I told him Utah's my favorite play of the year, and he said I can't do it, but he's a USC fan, so that's biased. I got to get the lowdown from some of my other buddies.
Right.
I'll make some calls.
I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna text him in the group chat right now.
I'll make the call right now. We'll see what we're thinking.
I'm gonna fire off a text. Let's say.
And I will say this. I think it's between Clemson and Utah. So if you think it's going to be FSU and you think Clemson's too obvious, then fucking lean into it.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that FSU might be too obvious, though. I'm starting to think that's the one.
The move to 3.5. I didn't like that.
Yeah. It was 5, right? 5.5 or 5 to 3.5.
It was 4.5 to 4, and then down to 3.5.
Yeah.
I've got another game I want to take and run by you guys because I think you're gonna like it. I want to fade JMU, who's ranked after 5 games being an actual real D1. I know this school. I know this school is really fucking good. They've had a great football program for the last 2 decades. It hasn't even just been this year. They finally got the bump up. They're way better than everyone expected way too quickly. They're absolutely stomping on all these teams they're playing. They beat App State at App State on the fucking road when they're plus 6.5 outright. One of the most impressive wins, in my opinion, for a college football team of this season, straight up. 5-0 ATS, 5-0 on the ML. They're playing a Georgia Southern team who really does not look great. This team, I think, had a little bit higher expectations than being sitting 3-3 here. They're coming off a bad loss to Georgia State, which I had money on Georgia State in that game. Georgia State pretty much handed them the game, and Georgia Southern didn't want it. So they're going to be pretty pissed and hungry coming back to get some revenge there. They're coming off of back-to-back losses, but against 2 good teams in their conference in Coastal Carolina and Georgia State, who Georgia State's not a good team, but they have really good players, in my opinion. So they're coming off of playing 2 good squads. JMU is coming off of absolutely stomping Arkansas State and Texas State in their last 2. They're probably feeling pretty freaking good about themselves. They're now ranked. Now people who don't even know who JMU is looking at this team saying, oh my God, is this a new trendy team I can root for now? This is fucking cool. They're playing this poverty Georgia Southern team on the road this week, minus 12.5. They got to win this game. They got to cover. They're ranked. They're JMU. They're undefeated. Nope. Give me Georgia Southern at home. That's too many fucking points. They're probably not going to win, but they're sure as hell keeping this one within 2 touchdowns. This line is disrespectful to Georgia Southern, and they're covering this game. Fuck JMU.
I'm with it.
I'm with it too.
The total alone tells me that Georgia Southern's going to keep themselves in this game. I mean,
it's high as shit.
It's really high. And you
They're
look at the
points.
games that JMU they come out and dominate. All the scores are like 40-10, 40-13. I think I saw one game. And when Georgia Southern stays in games, it's 34-30, that type of game. So, I mean, I leaned with the points initially, and then seeing the total kind of take place and stay there at 67, even start to move up a little bit. It's telling me they're going to score a little bit.
Okay. DeGen, you can get behind it?
I can. There's nothing in the lines that makes me like it, but everything you
Not
said.
a line play.
Yeah, not a line play, but everything you said, and I'm okay with that. I'm not married to the lines. Everything you said has me on it for sure.
It's still a gross play, and that's why I still like it.
Exactly. It's just 100% contrarian.
You touched on NC State, but you didn't touch on it enough. I love that angle, and I know Jovan does too. You had a great point. Their quarterback got ruled out, and this line didn't fucking move. And if anything, it's going to move to 3 now. I'm seeing the lines juiced to 3.5. This puppy might go back to 3 with their quarterback being out against Syracuse, who looks unbeatable. I mean, they literally are unbeatable. They're 5-0.
Yeah.
I'm not that high on this Syracuse team. I think they're a little bit overvalued. I like this NC State team. They're very highly regarded going into the season, and they have pretty much their whole team back from last year.
Yep.
I know they have a backup quarterback, but this line not moving, and this line honestly moving the opposite direction after they're rolling their quarterback out is fucking weird, and I want to bet them. Yeah.
With it.
100%.
Yeah.
Couple minutes left. I think we should touch on some NFL.
Oh,
Please.
Right. Jeez.
Plenty to with that.
Yeah, this episode's flying. This shit's flying.
It's just fine.
We're cooking. All right, Jovan, get us started, bro. What do you like?
I'm on the Chiefs, Bills, first half under.
I thought you were about to say you're on the Chiefs. I was about to throw up. I was about to actually throw up.
Not on the
Thank
Chiefs.
God.
But
You like the Bills, right? Do you guys like the Bills to win?
I do like the Bills. And that kind of plays into the under because I think, first of all, I mean, this is a game that's kind of it's the quintessential like overplay. And then it's going down 54 to 53.5. But I don't know. This is kind of both a football brain play and a line play because I do think the Bills are going to come out here and kind of enforce themselves, especially defensively against the Chiefs. I've seen a lot of stuff going around about how the Chiefs are the perfect team to destroy the Bills' zone defense. But the one thing that I have against that is their defensive line is going to wreak havoc. It's going to be pretty much the same thing that we saw in the first half of the Raiders game with their defensive line, I think. They're going to pressure Mahomes, and they're not going to allow the receivers to find those pockets in the zone immediately. I think it's going to take some time, which is why I'm sticking to the first half under. I think they're going to come out slow. It's going to take them a while to kind of penetrate the physicality of the Bills defense, and the Bills are going to do fine offensively. I think they can put up some points, but I just think their defense is going to force Mahomes early into sacks, going to force him into scrambling with his legs, which is obviously going to take time off the clock, and rushing some throws. I just don't see them coming out very strong against this defense in the first half.
I agree. DeGen, do you think the Bills win this game? I don't know if you guys are aware, but Patrick Mahomes has never been an underdog at home. And Patrick Mahomes is 6-0-1 ATS in his 7 games in his career as an underdog. He's never lost your money as an underdog. Yeah. So people are going to see that. I've already been hearing that narrative all week. People are going to be backing Mahomes at home. I fucking love the Bills this weekend. And them being a favorite in Kansas City this weekend doesn't make any sense to me. And I want every part of it. Give me Josh Allen. I don't get to bet good teams often, and I'm stoked to bet the Bills on Sunday Night Football. Right?
No.
Oh my God!
Crazy.
How?
425 game. I no idea.
And the NFC East slurpage needs to stop. And it's coming from an NFC East guy. It needs to stop.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I don't get it. Cowboys Philly on Sunday Night Football. The fuck?
Hey, don't worry. We got the Broncos Monday night. It gets better.
I do. I actually thought the Bills early in the week were much more square. That betting data is the first time I've seen it. I thought the Bills. I mean, I was looking on covers, and they're 54%. I thought they were up in the 60s. I could be way wrong, but even still, that was my square and sharp play that I think is going to hit. But I agree. It was in my newsletter, but my favorite under of the day or of the weekend, maybe even of the year, is between these two teams because everybody's going to expect points. And the fact that when you have a contrarian bet already on the surface, and then you have the line move going towards it, I absolutely love it. So it's you said I think it moved to 53.5 today, but up until that point it was sitting at 54. It was just a line freeze the entire week. So I love that under more than the Bills. Am I going to play both a side and a total? I just might because that's basically saying that the Bills would be favored by what 5.5 on a neutral against the Chiefs.
Yeah,
who wouldn't take the Chiefs with 5 points on a neutral field?
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. And maybe they're giving the Chiefs, maybe they're giving the Chiefs more respect for them being at home. I mean, that atmosphere is going to be nuts, right? Maybe they're giving them 4 points instead of the typical 3. Maybe they're giving them 5. I don't fucking know. But them, it's like when the Dodgers are an underdog. You got to fade them because they're an underdog for a reason. They're barely ever an underdog. They're an underdog because they're going to lose. It's like last night with the Avalanche being an underdog. It's the same shit, same story, different teams. All right, guys?
Right.
Pay attention. Okay? We're trying to spoon feed. Pay attention. DeGen, we got 2 minutes, dude. What's your favorite NFL play of the week?
Well, I got to tell you, one that I can't personally take, but I do absolutely love it because I'm already invested in fading the Jets this year. But this has got to be the trendiest dog, I think, of the weekend, even more so than the Chiefs. I forget what the betting data just said, but everybody is riding high on this 3-2 Jets team. You know what's interesting to me is the alt win total. So they're 5.5 before the season started. Last I checked, they're up to 6.5. So they're only saying that's it. That's all they're moving.
Thank God, because I have a nuke on the under at 5.5. Yeah, it's got life.
Bad start. But we got to keep in mind with this Jets team, they miracle win against Jacoby Brissett, one against Mitch Trubisky, transition into Kenny Pickett's first start. Then I just went and watched this game in person. Dog fight against Skylar Thompson, 7th round pick for 3 quarters. Yep. They're a fun team. I don't think they're a very good team. Now you got Aaron Rodgers coming back. Sure, it's from London, no bye week, short rest, but we did just see the Saints and the Vikings do that last weekend and win. So you got Aaron Rodgers, 7 points at home, up to 7.5. Meanwhile, 65% of the bets are on the Jets. But I can't do it. And I'll make my pick really quick. I love the Saints this weekend.
Love them.
One of the most lopsided bets are on Cincy. I do love Joe Burrow, but the Bengals, we talked about in the offseason, plus 100 to miss the playoffs was very interesting. So I faded them in that sense. I think they've already shows they've got their problems. The Saints not moving off of 1.5, maybe it got to 2 today, despite all the betting on the Bengals, tells me everything. Red Rifle revenge game. I'm all over it.
Yes.
All over it.
Also, give me the fucking Dolphins plus 3.5.
Yes.
If you can still find 3.5, give me that.
Yes.
If you can find 3, take 3. I don't give a fuck. People don't even know who the quarterback's name is who's playing, and they're only getting 3.5 points at home against Kirk Cousins and that electric offense and Justin Jefferson. Are you kidding me? Kidding me?
Yep.
That line is fucking ridiculous. Give me the Dolphins. Add that to my card.
Yep.
Jovan, what's your favorite NFL play of the weekend?
It was literally, I wrote down favorite sides, Dolphins and Saints.
So good. Yes.
That's what I've got. I will say my favorite, I guess, kind of square at this point, I've seen it a couple times, prop of the day or prop of the weekend is George Kittle. So I think it's
yards.
It's square, but I think a lot of people are still very scared to take him with how he's been utilized. And against this Falcons team, who they get absolutely demolished by tight ends. So we even saw it last week with the Bucs and K-Dot and his backup, Cameron Brate's backup, torch them. And the Falcons D-line it's not terrible, but it's not good enough to force the Niners to utilize Kittle as an extra blocker like they've had to do these last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be much more involved in the passing game, I think, here, and he's going to get his targets. He's going to get his yards. He's going to do pretty well against this Falcons defense, I think.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, it's already 2 o'clock here. That episode absolutely flew. We were firing off bets left and right. Guys, if you didn't learn something, if you didn't get a bet you liked from this episode, you weren't fucking listening. Clean out your ears because that was electric. DeGen, as always, my man, I appreciate you coming on. Have a great weekend.
Anytime,
Jovan,
you too.
It's Friday. Put the textbooks down. Go grab a beer. All right. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Let's make some coins this weekend. We're drinking Fiji out of the nipple fucking top.
Living life.
That's how life's going these days.
Fucking Poland Springs in my jug right here. No tap. Team no tap.
All right.